That's still quite a ways.
to Washington.
Yeah.
Most of the time they go up the coast to
The Inland Passage?
just to Pasuk.
Okay.
That's where the humpback whales often are. But it really depends. They kind of keep track of it. Number 60 departing with 6, switching to 7.
10-4.
Alright, so as we pull away here, we're departing a section of town called the Causeway. The Causeway is this wall up behind us. And on top of the Causeway sits the Empress Hotel. Now, prior to 1901, this wasn't actually a causeway, it was a bridge, and it spanned a gap of water called James Bay, which went back there about 500 meters, and it was a tidal flat. And so, you know, when the tide went out, especially after 50 years of people dumping their garbage in there, it really made the city kind of stink. So, the city decided that the best thing to do would just be to dry it out. So they built the causeway, let it dry out, planted a field there, and they had no real plans what to do with the site. But, you know, it's 5 empty acres right in the middle of downtown. And so, you know, some people suggested a park, but we already have the lovely Beacon Hill Park just over there. And so when an architect by the name of Francis Rattenbury, working with Canadian Pacific Steamship Company, suggested the idea of building a grand hotel on the site, the city actually liked the idea so much that they offered them a 10-year tax break for its construction. Now, in order to build right there on the silt bed, what they had to do is they had to drive 2,800 50-foot-long wood pilings through the silt, and they built the hotel right on top of them. Now, skeptics at the time said it was going to fall into the ocean one day, but, you know, it's been there over 100 years now, and it's still standing, so I think we're okay. Eventually, when the big one hits, it's just going to sink.
Have they replaced any, like, or have they put new concrete pylons in?
No, I think they still use wood, but I've heard that there are tunnels under there, so they do regular maintenance on them.
It's just like in Venice. It's a oxygen-free environment, so the logs and the cedar, so the logs are going to
And wood also doesn't really degrade in salt water as well. So right here on our right is Ship Point Pier, and on the other side you'll see that there's an old gray barge up there, and you'll see there's people up there in their swimsuits right now. And that's because this is Haven Spa. Haven Spa opened a couple of years ago, and they're, you know, Nordic style spa. You can go there for a sauna, a cold plunge, stuff like that. And you know, people thought, locals tended to think, you know, we're a lot of skeptics here. We thought that it wouldn't be very popular given all the noise here in the Inner Harbor. But they book up weeks in advance, and you go there for about 3 hours and just enjoy your time. Now, the main reason that Harbor Authority wanted to put a semi-permanent structure on that side is because you'll see right next to it is our seaplane terminal. And so we didn't want big vessels pulling in and out, getting in the way of the planes. Now, here in Victoria, we actually have the second busiest marine airport in North America. As you can hear, there's a plane pulling out, and you'll see in front of us there's another one pulling in, so we're going to get paused here while they go out. But we actually have 3 airlines that come into Victoria regularly. So the 2 planes pulling out are Harbour Air, and Harbour Air flies all up and down the west coast of British Columbia, and they actually operate the largest marine fleet in the world.
Yep.
And then further down the way there, Sea Air is just pulling in, and they opened up last year, and they just fly directly from Victoria to downtown Vancouver.
Where does Harbor Air go?
So Harbour Air flies to the 2 Vancouver terminals, so downtown Vancouver and then the Vancouver South Terminal on the Fraser River. But they also fly to the Gulf Islands, Powell River, Tofino. From Powell River, occasionally they'll fly all the way up to Prince Rupert.
They don't go to Seattle. Nobody goes.
They do go to Seattle. And then, I was about to say, Kenmore Air also uses this terminal here. They fly to Seattle from Victoria.
Do they go to, like, what's the other Washington town up here that's
Port Angeles, Port Townsend.
not Port Town? No, when we were heading up to Vancouver, you were saying, oh, we're actually south of the Bay Bridge. No, not Bay Bridge.
Not Bay Bridge, it's Bellingham.
Bellingham.
I don't know that they fly to Bellingham. They may from Seattle or from, yeah, they nobody else can get to.
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree.
Or you just have a big boat like that.
Yeah. So this pink building up behind the seaplane terminal, built in a French colonial style, which is pretty peculiar for Victoria, was actually our first federal government building. It opened in 1875, and it was our original customs house. Now, they didn't see much, traffic through there for the first few years. Victoria was in a bit of a depression in the 1870s and 80s, but after gold was discovered in the Klondike, people were lining up all the way down the street to buy their permits because everybody who wanted to go mine in the Klondike needed to purchase their permit in the province first. Now, you can actually mark most of Victoria's growth based around gold rushes. So where it says Haney's Cartage and Storage up there, that's about the original location of the first Hudson's Bay Company Fort. And prior to 1858, it was a very sleepy company town. So a census was taken in those years that showed 250 people lived here, 75% of which were children. So in April of 1858, a single vessel arrived from San Francisco carrying 450 passengers. And by the end of that summer, 16,000 people arrived in the city because gold had been discovered in the Fraser Canyon. Now, most of those people showing up, they were 49ers from San Francisco, and they knew that, you weren't going to make your money in gold, you were going to make your fortune in real estate. So most of them didn't even bother going to the Fraser Canyon. They stayed here in Victoria, bought up real estate, and started building. So this entire lower block here, the 1100 block of Fourth Street, it's been virtually unchanged since 1861. Wow. Which, depending where you are, that's either a very short time or a very long time. The reason we have so many of these old buildings around the city is because we actually have heritage bylaws which protect any building over the age of 90. So that means all brickwork and all writing on the buildings needs to be maintained.
Excuse me, this gray building here to our right, is that a hotel or is that a condo?
They have some condos, but it is a hotel.
Oh, okay.
And actually, if you look around, this is the only hotel built on water here in the city. And they basically did that in the early 80s as a way to drum up jobs for the city.
Okay.
Now these buildings here, they've been sitting empty for about 60 years because the original landowner got into an argument about direction of traffic around the bridge. And he just said, screw you guys, I'm going to leave it empty. But they've actually recently been slated for remediation. So I'm kind of hoping that they put a restaurant or something there because they've got 30 parking spots downtown. But whoever does that project really has their work cut out for them because 60 years of, rot is pretty ugly to deal with it.
Beautiful buildings, though.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of possibilities.
Yeah, very, very sturdy looking too. Now right here, going to be on our right in a second, is the Johnson Street Bridge.
Yep.
And the Johnson Street Bridge is a drawbridge. It's a single leaf drawbridge. It points straight up in the air when it goes up. Takes about 2 minutes to go up, 1 minute to go back down. And the the old blue bridge it replaces took about 10 minutes to go up and about 5 minutes to go back down. So this one significantly relieves traffic in the area.
How often does it go up?
Pretty often, usually at least once a day. So anytime one of those sailboats back there or a barge needs to go out, it'll go up.
Is that blue heron or right there on?
It's all
Great.
right. Yeah, that's a great blue heron.
Okay. That's like your state bird
I think
or
it's
provincial
it's
bird.
a provincial bird, yeah.
It's your provincial bird. I've been listening to your tour. Do you guys get salmon in here?
Occasionally. There used to be a fairly large salmon run that came right up the channel and all the way up into the Cold Creek River at the top, but it's been, overfished, and then there's political disagreements, the Hudson's Bay Company moved the entire village over to this point here. And they were here for about another 50 years, but they've since been relocated again. And they're now at the far side of Esquimalt with the Esquimalt First Nation. To give you some perspective as to how long people have been, living and fishing in the area, there's a number of shellfish minutes around the inner harbor where people would gather, and shuck shellfish and have their cooking fires. And some of them date back about 2,500 years out here.
Jet fuel.
What is that one thing you said? 14,000 years people have been living here?
How deep is this water?
We're probably about 8 to 10 feet here, but the middle of the channel is about 60. Now up here on our right, you'll see people walking along this pathway, and this is the Songhees Walkway. And it goes all the way up to West Bay, where we're heading now, and it's part of a collection of walkways that works its way all the way around the inner harbor and all the way out to Ogden Point, where the cruise ships dock. And these went in as part of a big remediation project in the late 90s, early 2000s, kind of turning Victoria into a more nice place to live. And these buildings up here, these condos, they went in about the same time, late 90s, early 2000s, and almost as soon as they went in, noise complaints started coming in about the airport here, which I think is a little funny because Boeing landed the first flight here in 1919 and it's been used as a runway ever since, so I think they didn't do their due diligence when they purchased.
I think there's so many communities that pop up right next to airports that have been there for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And then the new residents are like, it's so noisy. I'm like, hello?
Yeah.
You literally are like 200 meters from an airport.
Yeah. So I grew up in Richmond right next to IBR. It was all farmland when they built the airport there.
Yeah.
It slowly turned into, residential area. But, anybody living in the flight path actually gets like a property tax break. night, all after 8 p.m., which I think is kind of crazy. But we're actually expecting 350 cruise ships this year. It's going to be Victoria's biggest cruise ship year on record. So I think that's about 2.5 million passengers coming to the city.
A lot of money for the city, though.
Yeah.
And a lot of fees for docking.
That's right.
That's a good thing. We were here for Canada Day, and it was just crazy. The amount of people. It was like, wow. And then we got up on the second. No one was
Nobody
It was
forgot.
empty.
These cruise ships, do they usually just, are they like Alaska bound?
Yeah, but pretty much all Alaska.
Alaska,
Oh, yeah. Occasionally, when they're relocating ships, they'll do an LA to Vancouver.
Okay.
But yeah, most of them are Alaska bound. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Well, my parents, for their honeymoon, they went, I think they went Seattle. I don't know if it was Vancouver or Victoria up to Alaska. And I was like, oh, that'd be a nice one.
Up to Juneau and Skagway, probably where the stops on.
Probably, yeah. But these ships that dock here, where do they come from? Like tonight, are they coming from Alaska?
They're either stopping on the way back from Alaska or they're stopping on the way up from Seattle.
Okay, so this is not a starting point. This
No.
is literally just a
This is
stop.
stop, yeah. Yeah, some of them are here for as short as 3.5 hours.
Probably just fuel.
Yeah, get some of that good Canadian hospitality, and then off we go.
Yeah. So
Hey.
from this building here all the way up to the point and all the way across, that is all a Esquimalt naval base. And Esquimalt's been a navy base actually for longer than Canada's been a country. So the British closed down their base down in Chile in the early 1860s and moved up here, kind of as tensions were kicking off with the Russians during the Crimean War. And we didn't really see any conflict out here on the coast, but it was used as a stopover point for officers shipping back from India and Hong Kong and Singapore. And all those officers coming through Victoria, they saw, how nice the weather was and how cheap the land was at the time, and thought, maybe our pensions would be better used in the territories rather than going all the way back to, England and being second sons there. And so that's why we have so much English culture in Victoria. All the tennis courts and tea houses and gardens and the Tudor Revival style architecture. To give themselves a piece of home.
What the bird are these trying to protect?
So these were put in place for a type of bird called the purple martin, which is a member of the swallow family. I saw one a couple minutes ago. He's way up there. But this is the most northwestern point of their migratory range. They overwinter as far south as Brazil. But they stopped coming up here, and it turns out it was because we removed all their nest sites and trees over water. And so, as a test, they started putting these boxes up, and we've been seeing them come back in pretty good numbers. Now, there's a kelp bed out there, and you can just see a harbor seal's head out beside it. He likes to kind of lounge out there and look up at the sky occasionally.
Oh yeah, it's the biggest thing out there. When we were in Vancouver, we were walking along the seawall, and there were they must have been harbor seal pups, but they were totally playing it up for the crowd.
Okay.
Oh man.
They're fairly friendly, usually.
They're smart, too.
Yes, yeah. I like to describe them as, like dogs in sleeping bags, basically.
Yeah.
So these float homes in here, they went in about 10, 15 years ago. And most of them are full-time occupied. People do live down here on the water, and they're float homes, not houseboats. They don't have motors, but they do rise and fall with the tide. And they do get stuck in storms occasionally, which I imagine can be rough at sometimes, especially if you get the motion sickness.
they have to move them like at least 6 inches, like every year, every other year, so that they're not considered like
Stationary.
Station. I thought that was funny.
Well, like in Seattle, it's tax dodge.
What is it?
You pay more cheap, but you don't pay
Yeah,
property
no
tax.
property tax,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
So, but like their kids go to the schools that are split into the property taxes. So the guy by the roads pays on property taxes. So
Right.
that's
Whoever owns the pier would own them, foreshore leases, so they pay the property tax. Yeah. There's always something.
it is. There's always an angle.
It looks like there's a couple
us.
Oh, nice. Got the lights off now.
Yep, lights off, so let's see if we have enough time this time.
I don't see any others yet.
My record is 3. I've had to turn around 3 times. And yesterday when they canceled flights, I was stuck out here because the 2 Kenmore airplanes came back and there were 2 Harbor airplanes taxiing out waiting to take off.
And it was stormy too, so you're.
Yeah, they don't usually stop from rain. I think.
I mean, you.
Oh
Must
yeah.
have been bumpy out there.
No, it was pretty calm wind-wise yesterday. But it was just rainy. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
All right, try again.
Yeah, I don't see it. Feel that power.
Yeah.
Go,
All 12 horsepower.
We got this, man. Get out with some words. It's like one of the racing boats.
So directly out there, that red flashing beacon, that's Ogden Point Lighthouse. And you can actually walk the breakwater all the way out to Ogden Point Lighthouse. It's about 1 kilometer each way. And now I live in the James Bay neighborhood, so I like to walk out there in the winter time when the weather's clear. You get a great view of, the outer harbor here, but also it's a good spot for wildlife watching. So the sea lions in the wintertime particularly cruise up and back there, and the harbor seals will come out, but there's a giant Pacific octopus who likes to hang out there in the winter as well, which is really cool to see. And if you happen to have been out there last week, they actually, there's a pod of orcas that swam right by and right into the outer harbor here, and they actually had to stop the flight from taking off because the whales get right away.
Then you look over into the United States and shake your head in shame. Disgust.
This deep beacon spending 3/4 of your life at sea, you really don't want to be paying, rent or property taxes in town, right? And the fishermen did live in them for quite a while, and the fishing fleets did own several of them, but as you can tell by the kind of funky designs and weird paint schemes, the artist community here in Victoria adopted several of them, and there are some original residents who still live in them. But unlike the ones out in West Bay, these ones, they're not plumbed, so, a septic tank needs to come around here pretty regularly. Which kind of sounds exhausting to me.
In the old days, put it out and
I'm sorry?
you get all the maintenance from a house and a boat.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. One
Oh, yeah.
nice package.
Holy sh! That's a nice.
Oh, look at the mini one. Oh, that's nice little.
One
Dog out for a row almost every day.
Shoot. Both of these are.
They're the most
Hey, that's for sure.
I'm not sure. They're on we're having a busy morning. Just sitting in this boat here. I don't think you'll have trouble getting back.
Say you've done this a couple times.
Specifically don't want us jumping out of the boat, so
Yeah.
nice and slow. All right, fishing.
Have fun.
Have fun.
Yeah.
Oh, don't forget your.
They're not our binoculars.
Oh, I thought they were.
No.
You want to move up here? So you can get front row? Forward. No. Okay. Are these yours?
They come with the boat.
Oh, okay.
Old people get excited about birds, kids get excited about, rocks and seaweed, so somebody always wants to look
Of
around.
course. Of course. So how much do you think this one's going for?
How much?
You one right here?
Yeah.
450, I think.
450?
Yeah. Canadian.
Right, but still.
Yeah.
You cannot rent these? Like,
I think so, no.
okay.
Yeah, restrictions in BC have changed a fair bit for rentals and stuff over the past couple of years, so.
Oh, okay.
At least for short term. So yeah, there's, I believe only 25 of them
where do they all stop? Are they 5 stops or something that they go to?
There's, I think we have 14 now.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, Empress, Harbor Air, Redfish, Bluefish, Old Town, Chinatown, Delta, Coast, Fisherman's. We do have a stop out in West Bay where we were. I think I'm gonna pause us in Nora Bay here. I don't really want to fight with the Coho or with the Clipper while we're going into essentially the same spot. They can't see us too well. You guys might get a long tour today because I think the Coho is going to pull out as soon as the Clipper docks.
Oh, no worries. No worries.
Yeah.
So what? How far along are they on this?
So they say they're going to be opening
2020.
next year, but we'll see. So this is going to be, I'm not sure if you've heard, this is going to be the new customs house.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for both the international ferries coming here. Which I think is a good idea because where the Coho unloads, it's a bit of a mess.
Yeah, it's really congested. They can push it out a little